What a motherfucking day, man. Yo, Still Bills, what's the deal, man? Yo, peep game, man. We got to get into something now. Mind you, for the very few people that fuck with me and watch the kid, this ain't no boxing video, man. It's not about to be no boxing video. Something I've been wanting to talk about since it took place about a week or two ago, man. It's been on my mind, and a lot of people are jumping on board to speak on it, and I'm glad that I'm hearing people say the shit that they're saying, because that once again lets me know that I ain't alone out here, man. So about a week or two ago, Tyga made a video called Ay Caramba, and it's very inflammatory towards Mexican and Chicano culture. It's extremely insidious. There's nothing gratifying about the shit that's going on in that video. It's definitely stereotypical. And, you know, you're not about to sit here and convince me that, oh, well, I didn't know that was offensive. Nah, my nigga, that was extremely offensive. It's extremely offensive. It's nothing cool about it. You know, any proud Mexican or Chicano would, they should feel the way that they feel towards that. And if you don't feel the type of way if you don't feel how the older Chicanos feel from, a generation or two back as a young Mexican American or whatever the case may be, because that's the thing, a lot of Mexican Americans have been extremely Americanized. You'd be surprised how many amount of Mexicans don't speak Spanish. And if they don't speak, or they speak Spanish, but they speak English to their kids, and their kids don't speak Spanish. So they're extremely Americanized, or whatever the case may be. So to a lot of them, what he did wasn't, really nothing insulting. I don't see how you could be a Mexican and not be insulted by that. That just goes to show, like, yo, you really are out of tune with your culture and your lineage and your heritage. But there's a whole bunch of them who do feel some type of way about that, and I'm glad they feel some type of way about that. Because when you feeling some type of way about that, that means you have a recollection of what it means to be disrespected, your culture be disrespected and misrepresented. You have an understanding about that. So now what I'm seeing from it's a lot of Mexicans, a lot of Chicanos who are speaking up on it. They're getting boisterous about it, and they're real, and they hot, they mad about it. They mad as a motherfucker about it. As they should be. As they definitely should be. But what I'm seeing from black people, because they made Tyga go on there and apologize on, well, you know what was that? I don't know, the radio station out there in LA. But they browbeated him into bowing down and apologizing. They made him, he got very submissive with them. He became very submissive with them. And to keep it a stack, he should apologize, because that was fucked up. However, what I'm seeing from a lot of my brothers, because they man like, yo, you a buster for going up there and apologizing. The same niggas the same motherfuckers that are making you apologize are the same ones that nigga flies out of their mouth consistently. And I've literally watched a multitude of interviews with Mexican, in particular Chicanos from California. They feel some type of way. They feel some type of way about that video. Nah, that ain't it, man. That ain't it, my boy. That shit is out, my boy. This, and that, and the third. But then they'll ask them about an interview. You'll ask them in an interview about them saying nigga. They're like, you can't stop me from saying nigga. You can't stop me from saying nigga. Like, I don't care what nobody got to say about me saying nigga. You see how fucked up that is? You don't give a fuck. Nigga is not a culture. That's not Latino culture. I don't give a fuck if you from Mexico. I don't give a fuck if you from Guatemala, Salvador, Honduras, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, DR, Cuba. That's not Latino culture, nigga. No. Fuck no. That's not y'all culture. That word doesn't come from y'all culture. Even the blacks down there in them countries, they don't address them. They don't, hey, what up, my nigga? What's the shit the Dominicans say, my neen? I think that's something new. I think that's something, that was cultivated in the later years, when it became acceptable for Latinos to walk around throwing nigga up out of their mouth with no lack of regard for any black person's feelings towards them saying that shit. But I've seen a host of Latinos get on camera and show how disgruntled they are about Tyga making that video, but will completely disregard our feelings when it's time for them to stop saying the word nigga. Like, they dead ass feel entitled to say the word nigga. Like, they feel no type of issues with it. And the main dude who got on there, the Gil dude, what's his name, the American Cholo dude, like, bro, you did, like, bro, a lot of the shit that he's had to say as it pertains to reparations and everything, and just, you know, and he says nigga. Just think about how wicked that is, man. Nigga is not, that's not of y'all culture. It's black people who don't say nigga. It's black people who get offended when other black people say nigga. So what the fuck makes you think you get the right to say nigga, Mr. Mestizo, man? It's just this sense of entitlement that they have like, they get to say nigga. And that's partly our fault because we attach them onto everything. I was watching something on Sesame Street and they specifically said, the creators of Sesame Street, their intentions on making Sesame Street was, it has something like I don't know, it was a lot more pizzazz to it back when it had first came out, but they took a lot of that shit directly from Black American culture, from black communities. And there's some lady on there talking about the inception of Sesame Street, and it's a sister. And she can't just say black, she has to say black and brown. Black and brown, black and brown, black and brown, black and brown. Like, nigga, no. No. They didn't say anything about brown people. By the time when that shit was popping, it wasn't the brown community wasn't as influential and as massive up here as it is now. So what brown sectors are you taking? What brown elements are you taking from this community to put it into Sesame Street or whatever the case may be? We always do that shit. Oh, black and brown communities. It's a black and brown. Even the Hebrew Israelites, when they get to talking, you black and Hispanics, you black and Hispanics. It's like, bro, like, come on, my nigga. Like, no. So that's in a lot of cases our fault. How they just feel entitled to every step we take in society. We just feel we have to attach Latinos to that step. Black and brown, black and brown, black and brown, black and brown. When them care packages drop for the Mexican and Central Americans who was wrongfully deported and sent back to the fucking border, but before that they got locked up in cages like they was in internment camps and ripped from their family, that shit was insidious. That was a hideous sight. But ain't none of them talking about brown and black, brown and black. They not saying, all right, cool, we getting ours, we getting our reparations. I bet now we need to go beat the drum on behalf of the brothers to see that y'all right that wrong on what it is y'all did to them. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. It's just a sense of entitlement to where, because we've opened this door for them to be everything that we got. They got to get attached to it. Oh, we're black and brown people created hip hop. No. I was one of them niggas who thought that at first. Yeah. Because I was like, man, I don't like people saying, Cardi B, even though she gets on my nerves, and she's one of the ones with nigga that flies out of her mouth that I'm talking about. But I was like, it's her culture as well. Black and brown people created hip hop culture. Because they was like, man, this ain't her culture, this ain't her culture. And at first I was combative with that. I'm like, that's not necessarily true. Brown people did create hip hop. They had a hand in it. Until you go and you study and you learn, and you come across these pioneers and people who was around with hip hop in its infancy, before hip hop even had a name. They're like, no, Latinos was not around when hip hop had first started. Hip hop didn't start August 11th, 1973. That may be the birth date. That's the day it got its name. Oh yeah, this is what this is. It's all under one roof. This is what this is. The groundwork and the foundation was already implemented and set, 4 years before that in 69. 4 years before that. It was a concept, that was, for 4 years it was a conceptual moment for the culture. Before it got its name, before it got its name. So you go and you talk to people who was around at that time, they like, no, Latinos was not around. Latinos came around much later, deep into the 70s. That's when you started seeing them around, but it was still, the groundwork, the blueprint was already laid, the foundation was already set. So when I call Win It Out, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, yeah, you right. We did that. No, we have to attach them onto everything, and that's just, it's not a hate thing. It's just simply saying, bro, like, nah, you didn't have anything to do with this, or you can't be a part of this. You can't be a part of this. And that doesn't mean I hate you or your community. That's just saying, from a political stance, this set aside is specifically for my people and my people in itself. That doesn't mean I hate you. That doesn't mean that at all. Can't no black American walk into no Chicanos in LA, all the Chicanos up here in Omaha, Nebraska. We can't walk into no fucking Chicano political spot and be a voice, a representative for the Chicano population or the Guatemalan and the El Salvadorian population up here. Hell no, they're not having that. Not only am I not one of them, I couldn't pretend to represent them. That ain't no me. They know what it. You know what I am when you see me. So no way would they allow anybody to come and be a part of that move. No way would they ever allow anybody to be a voice in that movement. No fucking way would they ever allow that. No way. And that's cool. That's what they are supposed to do. Ain't nothing wrong with self-preservation. I don't care about that. That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me. It's just when it's time for us to get ours, y'all need to be distant. But that speaks in the, from a political and social standpoint, that bleeds right down into their sense of self-entitlement to use the word nigga. It segues right into that because of this black and brown. Like I've had to separate. Like my wife is Chicana, and she don't talk like one of us. She don't talk like the sisters I grew up with. She don't talk like the black girls I grew up with. She still has her California accent. Her Khalifa Chicana accent. When she speaks English, you hear it in her voice. That ain't no black woman. You hear it in her voice. Like if I was single, there's no way I'd date a Spanish chick who talked like a black, she had all the caricatures and mannerisms of a black woman. I wouldn't do that. You would get on my fucking, nerves. All right, now I gotta get away from you. Because a lot of times when people are like that, nigga ain't too far off their tongues. It's not too far off their tongues. Like, I miss the days when Mexicans were Mexicans. The Chicano population were Chicanos. They dressed like Chicanos. They dress, the Cholo, even the Cholos, they don't dress like how they dressed the homeboys from the 70s and the 80s and shit like that. They don't dress like that no more. They don't dress like that. They dress like black people now. I miss the days of Chicano rap. I was never a fan of Chicano rap ever. But I miss the days of those. I miss those days. Because it was a sense of individualism. And I miss the days of the 90s anyway, man, where you knew where a motherfucker came from by the lingo that he used, by the accent, how he rapped, the type of production that he was rapping over. I miss those days. As black people. I don't want to hear no New York nigga sound like he from Chicago. I don't want to hear no motherfucking Cali nigga sound like he from Atlanta. I want Atlanta rappers to rap like Atlanta rappers. I want Chicago rappers to rap like Chicago rappers. I want East and West Coast rappers to rap like East and West Coast rappers. And that's just amongst my own demographic. You go to these music videos now, these motherfucking Mexicans and Salvadorians and Guatemalans, nigga is just flying out of their mouth. And mind you, they come from back, like if the gang culture in LA, they beef with black gangs out there. It's NK on walls in the motherfucking in the alleyways in Chicano neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? I remember before the Floridencias in the East Coast, before they squashed their beefs, they had monkeys hanging off of their porches. Like pet monkeys strung up from a string dangling off their porches. That ain't just that's not just disrespecting East Coast Crit. That's disrespecting blacks abroad. Them Longos out in LA, I've talked about it before, bro. Like they got the nerve to actually want to participate within black culture while they spewing all that nigga shit. While they have a insane amount of vitriol towards the black demographic and population, they want to be a part of black culture. Nigga is not a part of Latino culture. It is not. It is not. Because the niggas that come from them places don't even identify as niggas. They're trying to assimilate to be assimilate into the motherfucking the indigenous culture. They're trying to be indigenous. They're trying to be native. Or they're trying to be white. It's Sammy Sosa. Sammy Sosa is not, he's not solo in his, no. There's a multitude of black people who come from the Dominican Republic who act like, who want to bleach their skin because the deep melanin in their skin bothers them. It sets them off like, bro, I'm the scourge of society. I'm so dark skinned, it's just ugly. They don't want to be black. They don't want to be black. That's not even African culture. That's not African culture, dog. Like them Africans before hip-hop set all around the world, they wasn't addressing each other as niggas. That's my nigga over there. They wasn't addressing each other as that. Like, no, bro, no. That is black American culture. So when you have these Latinos talking that nigga shit, nigga, and feeling like, yo, like if I ask you, can you stop saying nigga? You feel like I'm pressing you. So you all defensive. You in your feelings that I'm asking you to stop saying something that you're not supposed to say. You're mad at me because I'm asking you to stop saying something that is immediately confrontational with me and my people. Even though I'm giving you the respect, I don't think you racist. I just think you're caught up in a culture where that word is a lot more acceptable. And you don't have a filter to understand that not every black person is comfortable with you saying this. So I'm at least giving you the respect, like, yo, bro, can you, like, you killing me with this nigga word. And you, hold on, man, so why are you so pressed? I'm saying nigga. It's wild out here. I was just on a post. My man posted something from my block, and he was like, "Man, why are these like? It's something about all these Mexicans are saying nigga now. Like I miss the days when Mexicans was Mexicans." And I commented on that status, and then I actually went on the real status, and it's a plethora of Latinos on there speaking their piece. There was a dude on there, oh yeah, man, Mexicans is lame when they say it, man, but us Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, we ain't lame when. I'm like, y'all lame too. The fuck is you talking about? What makes you different than them? What makes you any more different than them outside of the fact that there may be a bigger black demographic in those countries, but what makes you different than them? I knew that people were really, like I said, they'll really beat this drum on behalf of Cardi B like she's a black. I knew what Cardi B was as soon as I saw her. That's not a black woman. She's not one of us. She isn't. Is there an African presence in her genetics? Yeah, I'm not gonna say that it isn't. But to the point where you can say she's black, no. And once again, that's a problem with niggas. Oh, they one of us, man. Latino was black. I'm like, how? No, it's not. Why are you so quick to deem them as black? You will completely disregard their Asiatic inception. You'll completely disregard that just to hold them as black. Just to say, oh, you black. So it ain't right. How you gonna disrespect yourself because you don't like black people? How you gonna disrespect black people when you black? And they like 20% black. Fuck no. We are so prone that we want to be accepted by everybody, and we want to be accepted so fucking bad that, oh man, they black. This nigga's talking about Fat Joe is an Afro-Latino, bro. We just want everybody, we want to be accepted, and we don't want to be the scourge of society so bad that any and everybody who has a pinch of African ancestry, we just go, oh, they black. But you'll completely disregard their Mongolian ancestry. That is literally the root of their inception. It's wild. A lot of this shit is our doing as black people. It honestly is. Not from a hip-hop standpoint. I'm not talking about from that standpoint. I'm not about to allow anybody to blame hip hop for everybody's use of the word nigga. I'm not doing that. Even them Asian motherfuckers, I'm not gonna do that. Oh man, hip hop. No, we not doing that. Because it's deeper than hip hop. It's deeper than that. And as far as the Latinos are concerned, we have latched them on to every social struggle that we've been a part of. Everything that we all black and brown. We can't say black people. If we say black people, we're being divisive. But we're being divisive. We're being divisive. Oh, what about the Hispanics? What about this? Well, we can't forget the Hispanics. They black too. Just because there's a black presence in the countries that they come from. There's only 2 million black people in Mexico. And they are all relegated to one area, Guerrero. And a lot of them, they have a more seismic African presence in their genetics. But you see that mestizo presence in them as well. Like I've seen, oh, this is an Afro-Latino right here. This is an Afro-Latino right there. She, man, 30 to maybe even 40% African genetics in her posse. Yeah, hey. But her indigenous ancestry completely usurps all that. It's the more dominant gene in her gene pool. Or his gene pool. So how are you, like, no, bro. No. Whatever genetic... If my kids have kids with the mestizo, those are not black babies. I won't have black grandchildren if that happens. I will have mestizo grandchildren. And that just is what it is. They'll still be my grandbabies. Definitely. But they're not black. They're not black. And we want everybody to be accepting of their African heritage, even if it's minute and minuscule. We want them to be accepting of that, because with y'all accepting that means y'all will look crazy as a motherfucker disrespecting us for our African genetics. So it's a shaming tactic. I still got people still trying to bring up the fucking one drop rule. Oh, you know what the one drop rule says, and they'll just completely disregard how inflammatory of a fucking law that was. Abraham Lincoln got fucking, they was trying to smear his campaign because of his distant African ancestry. It don't take but 2 generations to completely bleed out a specific bloodline. I've seen it happen with the bro. My man mixed, one of my best homies is mixed that I grew up with around my way. His mother was white, his daddy was black. Peace to both of them. Loved them dearly, especially his mom. His mom was around a lot more than his pops when I started going over there, because he lived off, Cash Street. That's a few blocks over from me where I grew up at. But his mother was white, his dad was black. So right there, the genetics are already diluted. So he has kids with a multitude of Mexican girls. His wife is Peruvian. When I look at them kids, as beautiful as they are, I'm like, them ain't black babies. That mestizo bloodline has completely took over everything that man put into him, because what he's put into him is you're half yourself. You're half yourself. So what, like, you know, that's not even a quarter of what it is that they're getting. Maybe a quarter white, a quarter black. If that. Their Mexican mother or their Peruvian mother, that is what they are. That's the dominant gene in their gene pool. It doesn't take much to breed out a bloodline. It doesn't take but 1 or 2 different generations to do that, and boom. My brother's wife is white. They have black babies. If those biracial black babies go and procreate with other black men or women, black men and women, they're not gonna be able to tell, oh, I got a white grandmother. My grandmother is white. For real. It doesn't take but 2 generations to completely breed out a specific bloodline. That's all it takes. So you imagine that with black people getting ran up out of all of these countries. I don't even think there's a black population in places like Argentina. By law, they was getting niggas up out of Argentina. I remember somebody talking about, they went into descriptive detail about how they ran black people up out of Argentina. I was listening to something, and it was this dude talking about how this Argentinian woman, it was on a yacht, it was a brother, and because she's not around black people, it's like you see them on TV. We're the cornerstones of culture up here in America, black Americans. We honestly are. I don't see that. I don't give a fuck about being. I'm not being politically correct on this one, because that's just what it is. So when you plaster it all over the screen, and you know what it is that we do on black America, it's gravitational. So she sees that and she's attracted to that, and she approached this dude he said that, oh yeah, she was trying to get on. And they talked about how they ran all the black people out of Argentina. And they wanted to link with, and procreate with the Italianos. They talk about this. They talk about that. So when you talk about that, black bloodline is gone practically. There's black people. I didn't even know there was black people in Livingston, Guatemala. They are relegated to Livingston in Guatemala. That small little section ain't even no tourist spot. They in the slums, the ghettos. When you think Guatemala, there's people down there who look like the Garifuna people from Jamaica. You don't even know they down there, but they down there. But they're relegated to one area. They not in no goddamn Guatemala City or other parts of Guatemala. You know what I mean? Salvadorians, they say, man, black people in El Salvador. But y'all are so hell-bent on holding them to a smidgen of African ancestry that they have floating in their genetics, that, oh, well, they one of us. So you look stupid disrespecting me as a black man when you have black genetics in your gene pool. No. Nigga, no, them is not black people. There's nothing wrong with saying that he's not black, she's not black. Just like there's nothing wrong with me saying I'm not a mestizo, I'm not Latino, I'm not white. But because they have a smidge of fucking African ancestry in their genetics, we gotta attach them onto all of our social movements. We gotta be boisterous when it comes to the Mexicans and Central Americans getting deported back across the border. That shit that's ugly. No one proud of that shit. I'll never sit on here and, oh man, well, they shouldn't be crossing over into this country. No, they have rights to this land as well. They were here thousands of years before European colonialists set foot on this fucking soil. From Puerto Rico clear up to Canada. They was here thousands of years before you crawled out the caves, bro. Before you were civilized as a European nation, they were on this land. So I'm not about to say, oh man, they don't need to be over here illegally. Nigga, they trying to get back into their homeland. I will stand on that. I will beat the drum. I won't beat the drum on behalf of them, but I will stand on that. Like, no. We don't. This is their homeland as well. Just like it's my homeland. My ancestral homeland is Africa, but I'm cultivated in America. My ancestors built the wealth and the economy of this land. I have rights to this land. So do Latinos. Did they build the wealth and the infrastructure of this country? No, they did not. But the fact of the matter is they were here first. This is their birthright, being on this land. And I will stand on that. I will stand on that. I won't be at no rally or nothing on behalf of immigration. No, I won't do that. I won't do that. But I'll tell you, no, they get rights to this land as well. But because niggas just want everybody they want to be accepted by everybody, and they want everybody to be a part of us, they'll just oh, you Latino, that's black. I had sisters tell me that. Oh man, they black too. No, they not. I will never disrespect any black woman by saying I married a black woman. Just because you ain't white don't mean you black. You're not Afro because you Latino. Like, no, I won't disrespect my people by doing that. Just like they won't allow me to disrespect them by saying that I'm a Latino. Even though there's Latinos who look just like me. When I had my braids, you know what I mean? I had people go, Don Omar. I had this Colombian cat that I used to work with. He's like, man, where you from? I'm like, man, I'm from here. He's like, you look Dominican. When I had my braids. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, bro. Like, no. There's black Dominicans and Puerto Ricans where, yeah, they're there, but that doesn't make everybody over there black. But we'll attach them to we'll attach them to our social struggles because there's a black presence over there. Bro, no. Fuck no. And because we do that shit, that gives them this sense of entitlement to where they can just say nigga and not have to be reprimanded for it. How dare you get mad at me for saying nigga? I've been saying this for years. Fat Joe, fat ass. I've been saying the N-word for 20 and 30 years. So? Fuck does that mean, bro? Like, no. You not one of us, dog, and we're asking you to just simply stop saying that, and you just refuse to do that because go to any podcast and go to Fat Joe's Music. I bet if that man ever used the F-bomb, the inflammatory word that pertains to gay people, I guarantee you he ain't said that word in years. And if he performs a song that has that word in it, it won't utter out of his mouth. The Locks, they don't say it. They didn't say nothing. They didn't. No, go listen to We Are the Streets and see how many times they dropped the F-bomb. Or Kiss the Game Goodbye and see how many times they dropped the F-bomb. Or Gangsta and a Gentleman, watch how many times he drops the F-bomb. No, they don't do it. Because it's a community that will reprimand them for that. So when it comes to these other communities and their heightened level of comfort with using that word, where's the energy when it pertains to us? You don't want to offend them, but you don't have an issue with offending us. You want your culture to be respected, but you don't have a problem with disrespecting our culture. I don't think it should stop at Mexican culture and Chicano culture. I want all these Latinos to get it. I'm talking Honduran culture. I'm talking Puerto Rican and Dominican and Cuban culture. I want Costa Rican. I won't say that. I'll say the main demographic, the main nations that have a seismic presence up here in America. So I'm talking Dominicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Salvadorians, Guatemalans, Mexicans, and Hondurans. Those are the 7 main Latin American countries that have a seismic population here in America. I want all of them to feel it. Yeah. Do something that's inflammatory and speaks directly to their culture. That's insulting to their culture. So we can all sit down. We can have a better understanding of one another. And we can all sit at the table and have a conversation and say, bro, I don't like you saying nigga. I don't like you saying nigga. And with me asking you to stop saying nigga, you feel like I'm pressing you, so you bang back even harder. So there's no other way for you to get it unless I put this derogatory video about how just really being insensitive to your culture. Let me put this video out so you can understand it from that. Asians too. Do that shit to them. Everybody get it. Everybody get it. Everybody get it. Stop being disrespectful. It's as simple as that. It's not hard to stop saying nigga. The least you can do is keep that shit relegated to them dumbass niggas who don't care about you using that. It's people who feel some type of way when you say that shit. I'm one of them. I used to be one of them. Oh man, they from the hood, you know what I'm saying? Oh, they black. But every time they would say it, it just would never sit right with me. But I didn't have the intellect and the mental capacity to be able to give resistance. I didn't have the mental capacity to say, nah, bro, I'm not feeling that. I didn't have an understanding that just because you're not white, that don't make you black. I didn't have the mental capacity to understand you're actually an indigenous individual. You're a what they call a mestizo. I did, because I'm Latino. That I didn't understand there's no such thing as a Latino. I didn't have the mental capacity to combat that shit when they would say that shit. I didn't have it. I didn't want to come off as inflammatory. I didn't want to come off as divisive. I didn't want to come off as disrespectful. And my biggest issue is if it's a whole bunch of niggas around and they allowing this dude to say nigga, I don't want to have to correct him on saying nigga and have to deal with these niggas getting mad at. I've always thought that was weird when black people would get mad at other black people with their discomfort for non-black people's level of comfort for saying the word nigga. I've never understood that. Like, why are you mad that I'm mad that he's saying nigga? How are you not mad? Even if you're not mad, how are you not like, yo, you know what? I understand that. I get it. I ain't even mad at you, homie. I completely understand that. What's this show? Black Ink Chicago. What was the shorty name? Charmaine and Van. It's a Mexican girl on that show. Nigga would just fly out her mouth, especially when she would get mad. And they got tired of that shit. And they told him, if I called you a spick or a wetback, how would you feel? He's like, oh, that's different. If I'm being racist, I'm adding the ER to it. They like, what do you, no, I've heard multiple people say that. Like, get the fuck out of here. But the thing is, the dude who was running the shop, Ryan, he was like, yo, I personally don't care, but I understand where they coming from. I get it. I get it. My personal beliefs, all right, whatever. But I also, because he's not fully black himself, but he understands, he's black. I don't say biracial, no, my niece and nephew is black. My niece and the African genetic is dominant in your bloodstream. You are black. I don't say, oh, they biracial, they mixed. No. You black. You black. Now, if you go out and you have a baby with white folks, that's not a black baby. That has to be half of your genetics. But the point is, he's black. I think his mom was Japanese or something like that, but he's black. You don't see no Japanese man when you look at him. You see a black man. He understood, yo, man, I understand where that word come from and how insidious of a word that is. So no, like, bro, I get it. So you gonna have to follow protocol. I was watching the Guy Code one time some years ago, and it was his brother on there talking about he's from New York, and it was these Puerto Rican chicks. Nah, nigga, and the niggas this and the niggas that, and he's just sitting there between them, listening to the conversation, and he's just like, he just keeps doing this. It's like a ping pong effect, because they're both saying nigga with just complete lack of regard for who this man is and his lineage. And he was like, yeah, man, them spics be acting up. So he said something along them lines. And when he said that, the conversation stopped. The energy got real awkward. And they kind of looked at him like, what you just say? And he was like, yeah, y'all don't like that. Y'all don't like that, do y'all? What the fuck make you think you get to just say nigga? Respect people's culture. That's what it all boils down to, man. Tyga should definitely be reprimanded for that shit. So should YG. They don't like it. They do not like it. And this isn't the first time that they spoke up against that shit, man. They banged on YG before for the videos that he made. Now you got to think about how wild Tyga went with that video, man, with just some Mexican girl, some Chicana girl sucking the tapatio sauce off of his toes. Like, bro, you don't know how exploitive and demonstrative of a visual that is? How demeaning that is? Just as a woman in general, to just suck your toes on. She got to put tapatio sauce on it. You got a fat Chicano looking dude in a 6'4" hitting switches with chips falling from the sky and chips all around his neck, and he's bald. You know, he got a shaved head. I think he had tattoos and everything. He watching all these Spanish channels. You know, it's bull right. That shit is extremely insulting. It absolutely is. But how you don't want your culture misrepresented, we don't want our culture misrepresented. Nigga is not a part of your culture. It is not. It is not. I don't give a fuck that you kick it with black people, you grew up in a black neighborhood. You have to have some sort of understanding that I know the root of this word. I know where it comes from. I don't give a fuck if I say it with an A instead of an ER. There's going to be somebody in this crowd that I'm going to rub the wrong way with doing that shit. You can't go to a Mexican neighborhood and you can't go to a Mexican, grow up in a Mexican neighborhood and be from a Mexican hood and address them as beaners and take the ER out of it and add an A and think that shit is about to be accepted amongst them. They are not having it. They not having it. You will get banged on for that, as you should. Respect people's culture. Respect people's nationality. Stop saying nigga. Simple as that. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. But black issues and black issues get disregarded and, oh man, you dragging it, this ain't the 1960s, it ain't the 70s, slavery is over, it ended, and yada yada yada. So our issues get diluted and pushed to the side as y'all niggas is dragging that shit, man. Y'all still on that civil rights wave, and y'all still on that bullshit, slavery. That's how that's how our culture gets treated. That's how issues in black American issues get treated. They get completely disregarded and dusted off to the side. Or they get misrepresented by someone who's looking to gain some sort of benefit off of it. I don't give a fuck about that shit. Nah, fuck them niggas. We have to be respectful of your culture while you disrespect us. In our own culture. Rappers, dog. Chicano rappers, Puerto Rican and Dominican rappers. We have to be respectful of your culture while you're disrespecting us in our culture that we created. Think about that shit. The American Cholo dude, them niggas, this, them niggas, that, while he's sitting up here banging against reparations. Him and whoever the fuck that was on the panel with him, why should they get reparations? No, we don't just owe you guys reparations. They don't owe you guys reparations. You need to get the Native Americans and the Hispanics need to get reparations first. For what? For what? As insidious as it was, the Spaniards chased y'all out of this country, forced y'all south across the border, and put a barrier between us and y'all, and they enforced that shit way harder than they enforced the border of north of us at Canada. They did that to y'all to the point where y'all wasn't a sizable demographic up here in this country. Y'all wasn't as plentiful as we were. They came here, they ran y'all out, and that's fucked up on their behalf. But we just speaking, historically, they ran y'all out. You can't really name me a Mexican slave on North American soil. I'm sure there was some sprinkled in there, but to the effect of black people, no. Do the Spaniards need to do right by y'all? Absolutely they do. Abso-fucking-lutely they do. Hell yeah they do. Ran y'all out of Texas, ran y'all out of fucking Arizona and California and all them places that is practically Mexico. It's the reason why that shit is so close to the Mexican border. They need to most definitely make that right with y'all. But reparations that's not a thing that y'all need to even be speaking on. And y'all damn sure don't deserve it before we get it. Absolutely not. So how dare you sit up here and say that, boy, you got a lot of nerve to feel disrespected when you consistently disrespect us. Nigga flying out your mouth. Yeah, I say it. And it's always been weird to me when Chicanos say that shit in the accent that they got. At least when the Puerto Ricans and the Dominicans say that shit up north in New York, to my knowledge, because they're around us a lot, they speak like you ain't up, hey man, what's good, God, peace, God. You'll hear some Latinos talk like that up there. I ain't really know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I have before. I'm wrong on that. I met a lady from PR. I knew she wasn't Mexican. I'm like, yo, where you from? You don't look like no Mexican or no Central American. And even how her accent and how she was speaking in English, I'm like, where you from? That ain't no Mexican or no Central American accent. I'm from Puerto Rico. Oh, okay, that's what's up. So there is an accent. There definitely is an accent for somebody coming over here who speak. Yeah, there is. Even the Caribbean. Yeah, there is. But they're a lot more in tune with they're around black people a lot more than the Chicanos in LA and in California. Even though it was definitely segregation between them two, those nationalities up there in New York. There's Puerto Rican neighborhoods you couldn't walk in. There was Dominican neighborhoods you couldn't walk down as a black man. You think you could have just walked down Washington Heights as a black man? No. You could have walked. You think you could just walk down certain sections in the Bronx? No. Because that's where they're plentiful at. That's where they're plentiful at. So there's definitely division between our nations and their nations. It is. It is. You dig what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. But because we just feel we have to include them in everything instead of being exclusive, we gotta attach them to our culture so they feel they get rights to say that shit. It's in their birthright to say nigga. And the minute you say, oh man, I don't like that shit. Oh, well, my grandmother is black. How many arguments I done had with these Latinos that do that shit? My grandmother is black. I have a black grandmother. Would you be mad? Would you believe me if I told you I had a black? They try to get all philosophical and deep on me like that's supposed to, trigger some sort of soft spot in me. No, I don't give a fuck. Just say you don't give a fuck about how black people feel about you saying nigga. Just say that. Because that shit don't work on me. I'm like, let's go to genetics. I've had to argue with people, man. They're arguing from an emotional standpoint. They try to trigger that emotion in you so you can dumb down and fall back on lambasting them for saying the word nigga. That ain't working on me, bro. Stop saying that shit around me. Respect that. Respect my culture. Respect my lineage. Respect the struggle of my people that we're still into this day. No, we ain't getting strung up from trees, but we're still locked out economically from a culture that not a culture, but a country that we fucking built from the ground up. Respect that. Respect that. Or when the police see a car full of Latinos, they see a car full of niggas. No, the fuck they don't. When the police see 4 mestizos riding in the car, 4 deep, they see motherfuckers who are coming here to oversaturate the job market and who are about to make them the numerical minority in this country. No, it is not the same. Our problems are not their problems. Honestly, they don't get gunned down like by the police in the capacity that we get gunned down by. Now, I'm not saying that they don't get killed by the police, but is it as plentiful as how black people? You don't roll over every day on Facebook and see a black man being clipped by the police. We just had a brother get gunned down in Ohio and got hit 60 plus times. That doesn't happen with Latinos in the capacity that happens with niggas. And there are more of them up here than us. They get rights that, bro, they're passing laws to where people who don't even have citizenship and documentation of this country, they can get bank accounts and driver's license. That's a privilege of a citizen who's born in a country who didn't cross here illegally. I hate that word, by the way. I hate that word. I hate that word. I hate that word. I hate that word. I had a conversation with a Mexican dude who was on my boxing page, and he was like, I don't like that word. And that's why I put illegals. I'm like, I was getting into it with a white guy. I'm like, ask him how he feels about illegals. And I put it in quotations. That is not a word that I use. It's definitely not. But for the sake of the conversation, I'm using it. Only for the sake of the conversation. I do not call undocumented citizens aliens and illegals. I don't do that. I don't do that. I understand the fact that, that's disrespectful. So I just need to clarify that shit. I definitely need to clarify that shit. But illegals, peep the quotations. The illegals that come up here, they're getting rights and they're getting set-asides that directly impact them. They're getting those rights, and I don't take issue with that. I don't take issue with that, because they have rights to this land as well. But it's when it's time for y'all, when it's time for us to ask y'all to to respect what it is that we got going on. Respect that. Respect that. Politically, socially, whatever. Politically, we're not going to ask y'all for certain we're not going to include y'all in certain set asides and packages that's beneficial to us. No, because that's not who y'all, that's not something that y'all are deserving of. Socially, stop saying nigga. Stop saying nigga. Stop saying nigga. And I feel like we get that right as the people who have been the most who've been through the most egregious shit up here in this country. We get that right to do that shit. You want us to respect your culture? I have no issue with that. And every Mexican and Chicano representative have every right to feel with the way that they're feeling about Tyga and YG and all them other California artists who make these offensive videos thinking they're representing Mexican culture when they're really misrepresenting Mexican culture, and it comes off as stereotypical and inflammatory. Yes, they have every right to feel the way that they feel. But like my man Spot, I was happy to see Spider Loc on the Tariq Nasheed podcast, and he said he was the first one to say it, because I didn't even hear Tariq say this. They got a culture with saying nigga. They are saying nigga as if they niggas. We got to talk about that. Don't expect us to respect your culture when you don't respect ours. Thank you very much. That's all we're asking for. Same thing with S-Bone from the neighborhood 40s. Shout out to the 40s. But he said the same thing. Yo, man, these Mexicans and these Asians, y'all using nigga like y'all niggas. He was like, if I was talking the way that I was talking, like if I was talking, hey fool, nah fool, y'all got me fucked up. If we was talking like that, even if we came up around y'all would feel some type of way about that. Like, bro, you serious right now? You'll be looking at us brazy as a motherfucker like, man, you is not Mexican, dog. Why are you talking like that? You is not Mexican, homie. Kill all that noise. Respect it, man. That's all we asking for. It's not hard to respect it. It's not hard to stop saying something, man. I come from a culture where the F-bomb was frequently used. I still got homies who use it. And I think I've told y'all the story before. I had one of my stud homegirls from Chicago come and watch the War versus Kovalev fight with me. And when she came over there, I was already trying to stop using the word, but I used it. And as soon as I used it, I caught myself like, fuck. And when I said it, she put out this real uncomfortable laugh like, man, like come on, man, don't say that around me, bro. And I felt like, God damn it. And from that moment on, that word never came out of my mouth again. Ever. Because it's understandable why somebody would feel some type of way about that shit, bro. Like, no, it's fucked up. It's fucked up to say. It's fucked up to say. It's meant to be derogatory and disrespectful towards the gay demographic. So respect who it is that they are. Respect their life choices, whether they was born that way or whether they decided to go about that, be that way through whatever situation that they, dealt with in their infancy and their early adolescence. Respect it. That's all they're asking for, is to respect that. And ever since that day, I stopped saying it. I stopped saying it and won't say it again. I don't even say it when they say it in a song. I don't say that word. I do not say it because I respect their plight. I respect their struggle, even though I have a very love-hate relationship for the LGBT as it pertains to how destructive they are with their policy and the shit that they push socially. This ideological stance is with me and the LGBT, so I don't hate you. I got all the love in the world for another human being, especially a black human being. If you black, you gay, man, I don't give a fuck, but that's your life. That's your life. But when you start to infringe and impede on my social struggle as a black man, and you start to try to attach your culture on the, your struggles on the mind. I mean, look at the Black Lives Matter movement, man. Look at that movement. There's no, without wrongful killings of black men by the hands of these police officers out here, You don't have a Black Lives Matter movement. They took 3 lesbians and put them at the forefront of that movement. And when they go and they do these rallies in these certain cities, they don't even allow masculine, straight, heterosexual black men to get on this podium and take up too much time to speak their grievances about how they get a certain level of anxiety when a cop pulls up behind them or pulls them over. They can't even air that out. They want to rush you off the mic, but they'll let a gay black man get on there and be very time consuming with, and take his time to convey whatever message it is he's trying to convey. They'll do the same thing with women. They'll do the same thing. They'll do the same thing with a trans woman. But when it's a black, masculine, heterosexual male, nah, we'll use you for our social movements. We'll use you to put our organization on the tips of the tongues on people on an international scale, on a global scale. But you can't come over here taking up all the time speaking about how, nah, we're not allowing that. Go on about your business. So from that standpoint, me and the LGBT are always going to have, we're always going to clash, but it's from an ideological standpoint. I don't disrespect them as a person. The policymakers, I got bars for y'all, and I got people who who sit back and, you dig, they kind of go with the flow. I got bars for y'all, but just me and the regular gay people, you welcome in my household. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. You my man, or you the homegirl. So I can respect that community and stop saying words that are inflammatory and insults them immediately. We're asking for the same thing. Don't disrespect. It was a Dominican dude in New York talking about fucking stupid niggas to a cab, like an Uber driver. Black lives don't matter. He was just going out of his way to be inflammatory. He was gay. He was just going out of his way to be real disrespectful and vitriolic towards his black Uber driver. And this is the black and brown coalition that we are supposed to honor. Nah, son, I ain't having it. So I'm liking how all the brothers is getting on some sort of getting codified on, nah, bro. We're not about to sit here and let y'all bang on Tyga, because this ain't just about Tyga. This ain't about Tyga. This is far beyond Tyga. It ain't just about him. And he's not even a black American. Like his inception goes, he's like Jamaican and Asian or some shit like that. But he's still a black man. So we're not about to let y'all bang on him and browbeat him and buck break him and make him bow down to y'all and be apologetic for that video, even though he should. We're not gonna allow y'all to do that to him without y'all having to face the wrong, the actions of y'all wrongdoing. So I love how black people are on that shit now. I love it dearly, and stay on that path, man. I'm going to work. I've been talking to y'all motherfuckers for about an hour, some change, as I drove up here to Lincoln, man. But that's all I got to say about it, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. I'm outie. Deuces.